kindred from the Yoruba race, and all of Nigeria, because we gathered today to celebrate one of the greatest Nigerians that ever passed our way. But more particularly, a name has not been mentioned here, and I'd like to bring greetings from the family of Chief Edwin Clark. And that is because in the personal and political journey of Adebanjo, the last of his closest friends was Chief Edwin Clark. And in the last 10 years, every other month, we had meetings in Abuja, where first it was southern Nigeria, southeast, south-south, and southwest. And it was unimaginable that in each of these meetings, Chief Adebanjo would be one of the first to arrive at the meetings. And we used to wonder and tell some of the other members of the delegation that why does Baba not stay behind and you all come? But he will insist. And he was so alert in all the meetings and insisted that this country must go back to the old virtues, the old ideals, the foundational principles, the foundational ethos that brought our fathers together. When it was time for India and Pakistan to separate, to have independence, they decided to separate. But our founding father said, we will stay together and build this country. And he was there from the beginning, and in all these meetings insisted that we must keep this country together on the principles of equity, justice, and fairness. But then they shared something in common. They were birds of the same feather, same kind. And these two grand old men, in all these meetings, always went together on every issue as far as it pertained to middle belt. Both of them would take one position and fought for people of middle belt. If it came to the Igbos, they fought for the Igbos. It was Chief Edwin Clark and Adebanjo that jointly wrote a letter to President Buhari and said, release Nnamdi Kanu to us. Why are you holding Nnamdi Kanu? Release him. Together, they insisted, why are the Igbos being treated the way they are being treated in this country? Are they not folk citizens of the country? When it came to other parts of the country, the middle belt, the carnage, unending carnage, they took principles. It made them to appear as if they opposed power, but they stood on principle. Let me end by also mentioning what happened in 2023. It was very difficult because a Yoruba man was contested. Adebanjo insisted this is a matter of equity and justice. That an Igbo man, since the time of Nnamdi Azikiwe, an Igbo man has not been elected to rule this country. We have had a chance under democracy. Give the Igbos a chance. A friend took a position. He said, I will take my position and I will stand. The same position that Edwin Clark took. Edwin Clark, we from Niger Delta for all our governors and PDP governors, just 1 minute and because this is very important. We must put these things in proper context. And our people said no, we support this particular party. Edwin Clark said no. You all can go on your own. Myself and Adebanjo will support it with you because it's a matter of equity, justice, and fairness. Well, I believe, and we all believe, now we have joined the pantheon of the saints and of the ancestors. And we know that is spirit and the spirit of Edwin Clark, who, by the way, when Adebanjo passed on, that morning he told me, he said, what of Adebanjo? The news had come out. We couldn't tell him. 3 days later, he was also gone. So, this country will continue on the ideals and the virtues that they have for us. Once more, we bring our condolences and will stand with them, and we hope the country will properly immortalize these two giants. Next week we'll start also the funeral. We have to work together with your program and allow one to go to Nigeria and also celebrate Chief Adebanjo starting from Wednesday next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. God knows Ghana.
Say to you, our Father in heaven. I'm sure everybody here was listening. Wish we can be celebrated like this. We're here to honor a man who lived a life of courage, a life of service, truth, integrity, and commitment. When I look at his life, I remember our essence, position. Don't live a life of success. Live a life of value. Papa lived a life of value. For those of us, I met him in this my journey of contesting elections. But I can tell you, till the last minute, Papa will always say to you, come, what is your question on this? And I say, Papa, this is ABC. No, I want you to explain it very well. How is it going to affect the people of Nigeria? He cared in detail for the poor. Doesn't matter whether you want to do it in the north, in the east, or west. How is it going to affect the people? I recall when people were saying my manifesto is being delayed. Where is this manifesto? Where is this manifesto? And they come back to me, and Pastor Tommy said, is Peter the one delaying it? Every day. He knows, every day we argue. Peter will say, no, don't put this. He called me and said, you are the one delaying it. Everything they write here, somebody has to implement it. So I want to be sure it's what I'm going to implement. Otherwise, when they go, everybody will say, is it your manifesto? Is it your... He said, I agree with you. I said, because that has been implemented. This is not a piece of paper. Somebody has to implement it. And Papa, the one I went before in Anambra, what I said I did. Even when it caused strife, some for 1 year, some for more than that, and I did it. So I want them to write one. He said I agree with you. But it went down to every detail, which is what is lacking. So I'm sure, like the prayers that the last speakers have said, wherever they are, Nigeria will be better. There's great people in Nigeria. Today I was discussing with my brother 5 years ago. When I watched the greed in this country, I said greed must have been for people are seeing. Why will anybody on stage looking for money again? What is he going to use it to do? To do what? To buy new house, or buy new car, or buy new one. Are you going to buy new wife? Even more troublesome. Some women, because when you have 3 or 4, the trouble increases. For you, you have to show love. Can you show love to 3, 4, 5 people at a time? I don't know. For those who do it, I wish them well. So for me, Papa lived a great life. Let's continue to celebrate him. Let's not stop here. To the family, you have a job. To all of us, the only lasting legacy, the way we keep his legacy, is that we continue to do those things he lived and died for. And that is fairness, equity, doing the right thing, caring for the poor in our midst. May God Almighty, who called him on, grant him eternal rest in his kingdom. May he grant the family and all of us the fortitude to bear his irreplaceable love. God bless you all.
Nigeria's gladiator of truth. Today we gather to mourn and celebrate the homegoing of Adebanjo. I say celebrate because we wave goodbye to one of Nigeria's foremost leaders who lived every day of his life fully till the age of 96, fighting for a better Nigeria with true federalism. To live long is one thing, to live long and impactfully is another. Pa Adebanjo lived impactfully long. Pa Adebanjo was Nigeria's gladiator of truth. We celebrate the exit of a national icon, a true conscience of our nation, a democratic gladiator of renowned repute. A man who fought in the battle lines to expand the democratic states, to give voice to the forgotten and to the marginalized. A man who always spoke truth to power, who questioned the status quo, always calling us to be the best we can be as a nation. A man of impeccable integrity, whose words like blades sharpened with honesty, purposefulness, and patriotism, cut through the hardest of hearts. Pa Adebanjo was a trailblazer who shaped our national consciousness, jolted us always of our democratic slumber, and reminded us to never remove the ancient landmarks that will assure Nigeria's national unity. As a great political gladiator, Pa Adebanjo fought for the emergence of a more equitable, fair, inclusive, and better Nigeria. Gladiators have scars to show for their battles. Pa Adebanjo had many scars. But like renowned gladiators, he stood triumphantly. He stood undaunted. He stood fearless. He stood bold. He stood brave. He stood unbound. Throughout his incredible life, Pa Adebanjo was a bastion of truth, like John the Baptist in the Holy Bible. Pa Adebanjo, who happened to have been a great friend of my father, was a lone voice in the wilderness, announcing the coming of a new Nigeria that will be bigger than him. A Nigeria that we all will be proud of, where with true federalism, everyone, regardless of ethnicity, religion, or region, will work together for the betterment of all. Where all forms of schisms will end. Where united we will forge a nation with inclusiveness. Where none will lord over the other. Where our bonds will be too strong to fray and amid sometimes blistering fires of national discourse. Pa Adebanjo, unlike John the Baptist, you are not beheaded. You simply headed home. Pa Adebanjo, your memory lives on. Your words like coals of fire will continue to burn in our national consciousness. Your indomitable spirit will continue to inspire us. Your life was not rich in money, but rich in values. Values that what is worth having is worth fighting for. Thank you for your many sacrifices. Thank you for being such a great inspiration. Thank you for leaving such a great legacy and for departing with great honor. Goodbye, Papa Adebanjo, Nigeria's gladiator of truth. May God comfort your dear wife, Mama Adebanjo, your children and grandchildren. May your soul rest in eternal peace, the bosom of our God, your Maker. Amen.
Was that he supported the political ambitions of women. I recall when a female politician received an award from an NGO. Papa showed up there to support her with an entourage of about 10 people, and the entire atmosphere became electric. So it is fitting that the next tribute is from a former presidential candidate who, like Papa, is a fearless patriot, a critic, and an advocate for her political ideas, and known for her unwavering commitment to the fundamentals of democracy and the rule of law. It's my pleasure to invite to the podium Dr. Obi Ezekwesili.
Never ages. Please let us applaud her. It is my distinct delight to be able to offer these words of eulogy for a father that earned the right to truly be called the father of the nation. Adebanjo is I have difficulty. They are like saying words. I've just been mixing up my tenses every time I speak about that. And that's because he lives. So Adebanjo was a revolutionary. The way to understand this is, was it not George Orwell that said that in a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is revolutionary. That was Adebanjo. I knew him when I was watching in the days of concerned professionals. Because he was out of Laden, and concerned professionals, a body of professionals who were unhappy at the way that the military was determined to truncate the democracy that was about to happen. And in those days, it was not difficult to hear the voice of Adebanjo. And to know that following that era, he remained consistent in exerting pressure on our system of governance and nation. He gave me such great delight. Do you know the greatest thing for me about Adebanjo? It is the fact that he set the standard of what it means to have character. Character, as my dad taught us, is a lasting currency. Every other currency can go out of fashion, but character never goes out of fashion. And here's the deal. The fact that Adebanjo, who belonged to the silent generation, that's the generation born 1928 to the time that the next generation, the baby boomers, were born. And this is a man that the Gen Zs know. Can you imagine that? The millennials know. The Gen X, that's the next one, they know. And then, of course, the baby boomers. Why is that important? It is important because intergenerational transmission of values can save society. So for the Gen Zs that know that you are very fortunate, you can now decide whether it is worth it to be the opposite of what Adebanjo was. Or you will understand that he is the man that says that the substance of a human being does not consist in the abundance of things that he owned. That he did not own much, but he earned the admiration that we've all turned out to be. And that is great enough. God bless you.
Worthy of emulation by each of us. As a true patriot, Adebanjo dedicated his life, as everyone he shared, to the fight for democracy, standing firm in his beliefs and advocating for justice and equality for all. Daddy, as I affectionately called him, was a teacher par excellence, generously sharing his time and resources with all of us who had the good fortune to encounter him. I learned a lot from him. And every time I visited Nigeria and Lagos, I made it a point of duty to make sure that if he was available, that I spent time with him. I learned notably the foundation of his commitment to ensuring a better Nigeria. I learned to have character, compassion, competence, and courage as their attributes. To mommy, his children and grandchildren, let me do what I always do, which is thank you for sharing him with us all. I thank God for his legacy, particularly in the great children and grandchildren he has. I'm particularly grateful to my dear friend and sister, Mrs. Adebanjo, who has shown us through her own life that the fruit does not fall too far from the tree. As we reflect on Adebanjo's legacy, let us remember always his phenomenal achievements, his selfless commitment to the truth. And as my brother, the president of the African Bank said, the values that he had, but I would specifically say of integrity, of resilience. That is legacy, well, I'm sure will live in the hearts of millions and millions of Nigerians, because he's inspired so many of us in his fight, and because he was so sacrificial about it. As I think was said earlier by Pastor Tunde Bakari, Daddy has passed on the baton to us all, and I hope that as we reflect on our own lives, that we will seek to honor his exemplary life by being the best of ourselves. May his spirit continue to guide us, to strive, to uphold the principles he fought so hard to defend. I will end by saying, ce n'est pas un adieu, c'est juste un au revoir, because I do want like him to make it to heaven. Rest in perfect peace, Daddy. Rest in perfect peace, Adebanjo.
Call him all great names, Daddy, great man. He should sit there and think that's Grandpa. Grandpa was one of a kind. We had the privilege of sitting with him. You attest to the certainly divine ability to teach, to challenge, to inspire. Yet I dare say that that's probably not what's greatest about Grandpa. Those things are great, but there are other things that make him great. And there it is again, this use of tense. I guess I've got the bug, I've got it. He was great. And there were some things that made him really great. For example, his ability to eat fish. I know, say with me. I've sat with Grandpa several times when he ate fish with some soup. It never ceased to amaze me. It's like a magic trick when he ate fish in soup. He would take a large spoon of fish in his mouth, silence, pausing, his jaws going back and forth, and then at the right moment, he spits out dry bone. Now, how? I would ask, how does he do that? How does he do that? Watch this. How does he separate what is good from what is dangerous? How does he take the calculated risk of deciphering between what is of character and what is not? How does he decipher, how does he understand in the moment of the risk itself, how to separate what is beneficial and what is quickly? I don't know the answer to that, but I do know this. I know it for a fact, he lived his life like he ate fish. Grandpa used his mouth and his voice to separate what was good from what was dangerous for this country and for society. Grandpa had no hesitation about calling out what was good fish for us as a society and what was dangerous bones to discard of. He took the risk of bones for the opportunity to find fish. He showed up to the conversation. Grandpa had the bravery to tell it like it is. He lived meticulously, just like he ate fish. The second thing that made Grandpa just divinely great is actually part of the reason why we're here today. Mourning and at the same time rejoicing. Once again, stay with me here. We gather today in mourning and in rejoicing. We mourn for the loss of time, but we rejoice for the time we've had. We mourn for his great wisdom, but we rejoice for his example. We mourn that we're not able to call his name, but we rejoice and are grateful for the name that he has left us. We mourn that we're unable to hear his voice, but we rejoice that he gave us direction. We mourn Grandpa because we are no longer able to see him, but we rejoice for his foresight. But that does not answer the question, how does mourning and rejoicing make it great? The answer is simple. He had an unmatched ability to see people as better than they saw themselves and to see society as better than it saw itself. And so for those personal relationships that he held to such high esteem, to such high standards that it almost felt like your relationship almost broke because of the high standard he held you to. For those relationships that were so tensioned because of the standard that he held us all to, it was because he was mourning over us before we got to mourn over him. He had this innate desire to push us to our very best. But here's the thing. Yes, he wanted for us, desire to push us to our very best. But here's the thing. No one can do that for that long. And that consistently without the other side of the coin. No one can do that without also rejoicing. Because mourning can only get you so far in this push to get people to be better, to get society to be better. You do it for that long, for that consistently, with that level of passion, because there's also a side of you that is rejoicing. Though yes, the thing has not come to pass, the rejoicing keeps you going. No one can be that disturbed by who you are not yet. No one can be that disturbed and continue to invest in you for that long without being driven not just by mourning, but also by the joy for who you have the potential to become. Because the truth is that you can only tell that it is for as long as he did when it comes from a place of rejoicing.
Leaders, the chairman of the planning committee and members, I regret our family members, comrades, friends, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press. I stand before you today on this credible platform to speak on the life and times of a frontline federalist, a veteran of many progressive battles, the greatest defender of the oppressed. The iconoclastic Pa Adebanjo, who left us 77 days ago. It's extremely difficult for me to speak about Papa in the past, having known him for about 4 decades. Our paths crossed during the anti-military era in the early and mid-80s. Also at the 2014 National Conference, and when the fearless and fair activists Comrade Ekal Maki Etsue as the Afenifere spokesperson who stopped speaking 4 years ago. One thing I will thank you about Papa was his consistency. His consistent pursuit and being many brushes with military and civilian dictators, but Papa was never deterred. When the locusts in Kaki and Jackbush besieged our land and mangled our mandates, Baba stood for Adebanjo. He was in the trenches when hundreds of our people were killed. Baba bared his chest to dare the beasts. He displayed uncommon courage at the barricades. He never gave up until democracy was restored. Baba was a man of character with deep moral conviction, who will always believe in speaking the truth no matter who stops his God. Another thing I will strike one about Baba, Baba had that milk of compassion, so caring. When a part of me left, people are calling me, Joe, why are you no longer active? When he had left 4 years ago, if not for Baba that kept calling me, kept checking on me, he will speak. When I give news, he will know how this person wants to break down. Papa's exit means a personal loss to me and an irreparable loss to all of us. Where Papa tread, other mortals will fear to tread. Where he towered, other mortals will fear to go to that place. Papa was extremely humble, and the humility can be seen in all Papa's children. That's my friend Biola Aziz, and all the family members, extremely humble like Papa. Papa was an Iroko tree whose legacy will never ever be forgotten. We want to thank Papa for the life that he lived. The only befitting memorial we can give this titan, the life wire of the human rights and pro-democracy struggle, is for us to invite all the virtues Papa lived and died for. He was incorruptible, so selfless, consistent. He spoke truth to power. Papa, at any point in time, he will never stand by the side of the fence because everyone look at is either a coward or a traitor. Papa was so selfless because the worthiness of life is still rooted in the service of mankind. And our Bible said, what we do for ourselves dies with us, but what we do for others remain. Finally, Adebanjo, we continue to live in the consciousness of the people. And to live in the consciousness of the people is to live forever. Therefore, Papa Adebanjo lives forever. Rest in power, Papa Adebanjo. Thank you for giving people the life you have to us. We will never ever forget your sacrifice. Thank you.
Family members, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It will be very short. Today we gather to pay our last respects to an icon, a leader,
the passage.
His passage is not just the loss of the land, but the flipping of an exciting page and the closing of a remarkable chapter in Nigeria's socio-political history. Adebanjo was a man of deep convictions, A graceful leader who never wavered in his pursuit of justice, equity, and the ideas of good governance. His commitment to a life more abundant, credible, of our sake, Obafemi Awolowo defined the context and the characters of his policies and activities. One cannot recall the major role that he played during the Adebanjo struggle as a While our party did not have initially aligned during the 2003 elections, Adebanjo, upon his understanding of the vision and policies of our administration, became one of our strongest and most consistent supporters. His loyalty was never transactional. Once convinced, he stood firm with us through thick and thin. One of the most profound moments of his unwavering support was after my tenure as governor in 2011. When I lost executive powers and faced politically motivated challenges, it was Adebanjo. Together with other revered Afenifere leaders, including Parliament Fashion, Chief Olufalaye, Paola Ajayi, and even Shudibare, and many others, they all in an extraordinary display of solidarity defied intimidation and publicly visited me at my Shagamu residence. Their president sent a powerful message that justice and fairness will always triumph over political persecution. I remain forever grateful therefore that I did not disappoint them and the Yoruba leadership that they represented, as I was later discharged and acquitted. Beyond politics, Adebanjo was a reconciler. I was honored when he allowed me to mediate in a disagreement between him and Senator Dr. Femi Kuromu, another distinguished son of Ogun State, who happened to be my lecturer in engineering thermodynamics at the University of Lagos in the 70s. It was very hard for me to see Senator Kuromu led a powerful and different delegation to pay final respect to Adebanjo, speaking glowingly of his legacy and the values he represented. I am happy Senator Dr. Femi Okuromo is here with us. Similarly, Adebanjo demonstrated his commitment to peace when he permitted yet another mediation effort involving a foremost paramount ruler under the overall supervision of former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Though often perceived as a man of unyielding resolve, but beneath that exterior lay a man of peace, wisdom, and unwavering dedication to the common good. During that event, it was clear there was only one person who could lead this mediation and speak to Adebanjo. That was Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. In fact, history confirms that he was initially a Zikist of the old NSS stock before becoming an action grouper and a protect of the late Chief Obafemi. He was deeply religious, a devoted son of Soyago, his beloved community, and a man who cherished his family above all else. His life was a testament to the values of integrity, sacrifice, and love for humanity. Adebanjo was not just a man, he was an institution. His voice may be silent now, but his legacy will continue to inspire generations to come. How life was both a question as it was also the answer. He began telling us about Empire Day in Okelamora in those days before our country's independence. I will sing and march as a schoolboy in Okelamora. The song is as follows. And I don't know whether there's still people who can remember that too. Òkè làmúrẹ́, òkè làmúrẹ́, òkè làmúrẹ́ láti ṣe báyàdé. Ẹ má sọ pé apẹ́ o, òkè làmúrẹ́.
My Lord's distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I stand here as a spirit of my father, just looking down. He knew who the man was, just thinking, is this all for me? As modest and as impetuous as he was, he would have absolutely loved this. So, as Lincoln said, one down to go. Thank you very, very much indeed. Every single one of you, I really want to thank you. Let me start by the gentlemen, our honored guests that gave spiritual coverage to this event. The Reverend Ifedola Gabriel Okupebi, we thank you. Venerable John Akoro, we thank you. Pastor Tunde Bakari, Pastor Itwa Ikudalo, Pastor Dotun Odelabi, Dide Olushagari, Very Reverend Ayo Richards, and Pastor Ayo Adeshola. Those gave spiritual coverage. Now, if you're part of my wonderful committee that my father put together to give him a good send-off, you'd have heard me talk about my agony in the final years of his life. But this man really became larger than life. How do you begin to put together a send-off for this man, my father? I know I couldn't. And he himself, he knew that he didn't have us within his own offspring to put it together. So let me start by thanking the most wonderful, incredible, and peerless community you could have to do a sentiment for my father, led by none other than the eminent Dr. your irrepressible Dr. Adebanjo Banjo. Thank you. Thank you so much. He has been instrumental. If you want to lead that for such an occasion, you can hire him out, pay $1 million, and please get him to do a good job. Now, I have to individually mention people who are maestros behind the scene. One of them, obviously, you heard recently talk about Papa's political son. I can remember him having his first disagreement with my dad when he was running to be governor. Because he came to my dad and said he wanted to be governor, and my dad said, "No joke with." That is Otumba Adebanjo. But Adebanjo had a particular good knack of defying my dad and then coming back to become his friend. Because my dad wasn't easy to fall out with. He had very strong ways, but he had this unique relationship with Adebanjo, which you can see as a former governor. How many would see him running up and down like an usher all day long? He's done it for 3 months. Please thank Otumba Adebanjo, a very special political son of my father. Thank you, Otumba. They've gone now. 2 maestros behind the orchestra, which you wouldn't see, but they were instrumental in not only raising the needed finance to fund this, but for their various directions and advice. Those two, I call them the little and large, or what do we call them, of the Nigerian Open Society. Those are Pastor Bakare and Mr. Fola Abiola. They are 2 sparring partners, but they were very instrumental. So Pastor Bakare and Fola Abiola, thank you very much. And the Afenifere family, where would we be without you? Baba lives his life entirely, of course, dedicated to that cause and to the Awolowo cause. So we thank you, Pastor and Oba Olaito. Thank you very much indeed. All the former governors here, Papa was particularly fond of most of you. Territory people are also. We thank you especially for your continued background support for the family. Thank you very much indeed. Certain individuals deserve special mention, and they're not named you see in the media, but they were instrumental to Baba's life in his day-to-day survival. They put out fires in his house. One of them is Pastor Tokumbo Oshopaya. If you're down, I'd like him to stand up, because he was very instrumental in Baba's day-to-day running of his household. So thank you. But there he is over there. Very special gentleman. Baba really will be very, and he was very instrumental to that. So again, I come around, I say thank you to all my siblings and the grandchildren, because without you, this colorful event wouldn't have been complete. And Baba himself would have particularly loved the way he turned out, because he loved to be the perfect grandpa, and he loved his children to surround me with all the love and affection you expect from somebody like that. Now, finally, I would like to thank one of the literary maestros and media geniuses that really was behind every tribute book you see, every communication behind the line. The advice, the intellectual harmony that made this thing flourish was none other than the eminent and the very special to the family, Dr. Yemi Ogunbiyi. Please thank Dr. Yemi Ogunbiyi for us. Somebody else I can't fail to mention was the Baba's finance minister, I called him for, even from birth. His father was one of Baba's bestowed, I'll call him that, Otumba Bello, Alaji Bello, he called him Alaji Betinai, was Otumba Nikon Bello, is who I'm referring to. Thank you very much. He's a special grandson of Baba. So thank you. I'm not sure if I've let anyone else out, but please don't be offended if I haven't mentioned you. Someone who was instrumental in the coordinating of this event also is a lady who was one of Papa's best granddaughters, I'll call them, or daughters, Miss Fofo Atijon. She was also very instrumental in putting this together. In our community. So please don't be offended if I've left you out. I've really loved all the names I can remember. And we wish you all the very best in your endeavors. And we hope, they say, so we're very grateful to you, and we thank you for your immense support in giving this man part of the one leg of a three-legged, a tripod of a send-off. So we're very grateful for you. Otuba, Governor Adebanjo, I haven't forgotten you. Thank you. I know you are also very close to Baba. But thank you too. And that's about it, I think. God bless.